And I'm here today on my Rumblex Pro from Lifepro to share with you a yoga practice that we're going to work on for our wrist flexibility and hand strength. And this is going to be a little different than most of the practices because I'm going to be sitting down on the Rumblex for some of it, and I'm going to be kneeling behind it. So if you have a hard time sitting or kneeling, feel free to be on a chair, okay? And you can lean forward. But I just want to kind of give you the heads up on that. So I'm on the vibration platform, and you don't really need too many props. However, if you are that person that has super stiff wrists, and that's why you're watching this, I would recommend that you get a blanket or a towel, because I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to help get rid of that pain in your wrists. So a few things about wrists in general. Whatever your issues are in your tissues, whether it's trauma from an accident, overuse because you work with your hands all the time. I was a graphic artist for almost 15, more like 18 years, and I worked with my hands a lot, so I had a lot of overuse. But you could be into sports, some kind of athletics activity that requires a lot of hand work. Maybe just wear and tear because you're like me and you're old and your joints and the tissue just got just worn out. Or you might have autoimmune diseases, some type of arthritis. It really doesn't matter. The fact is you've got some issues going on and you are losing that strength, that flexibility that you were designed to have, that you were created to have. And so you know that we have 27 bones in each hand. We've got 3 in each of the fingers, the phalanges, and 2 in our thumbs. We've got 5 bones in our middle of our hand, and our wrist has 8 bones. So there's 27 bones in each hand, which means you've got a lot of connective tissue. So keep that in mind as we do this work. I'm going to start the platform, and whatever platform you are on is perfect. I always tell you that. I'm just glad you have one and you're using it. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to put mine on oscillation mode, and my speed's going to be about a 9 or 10. So if you're checking in today with me and you're on your platform, let me know what you have. If you have any questions throughout this practice because you're watching me live, type them in the chat box and we're going to be happy to answer them for you. If you're watching this later on, it's pre-recorded, still go ahead and go on to the Lifepro, the VIP page, and hit me up there, ask me some questions, or I'm glad to help you out if you are dealing with some situations. So let's begin. We're going to sit in a nice upright position, and just like with every yoga practice, a therapeutic practice, we want to come and center ourselves. So you're going to sit in a nice tall seat, lengthening your spine, relaxing the shoulders down, and just feel really grounded in your seat. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and then relax the jaw inside out. We just want to come into this place of presence in our body. And again, I know it's all about our wrists and hands today, but let's just kind of just center ourselves here together. I'm going to be showing you a variety of flowing movements for your hands. So unlike some of the practices we have where we're moving our entire body, this is all about our phalanges, our metacarpals, and our wrist bones. Another deep breath in and a long breath out. So once you have this place of being centered, what I'd like you to do is bring your hands into prayer. This is a hand asana, a hand position called Anjali Mudra. Mudras are basically hand positions for us to use in our yoga practice. So right now, what I'd like you to do is really press the heel of your hands together. Feel that. Feel the connections of those 8 wrist bones together, pressing together, sitting up nice and tall. And then relax that. And now take the tips of your fingers, the 10 fingertips, and press those together. Feel the difference where your muscular energy is in your arms. And you can feel it that you're really pushing the finger pads together, and then let it relax. And now there's these big knuckles here. I'm going to have you press those knuckles, those 5 knuckles from the thumb to the index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger. Feel that. And it's almost like you're suction cupping your hands together, but more so in the center there. Notice that there's not a lot of weight bearing or pressure into the wrists, and then let that go. Now, the next time I want you to go in the finger pads and only the knuckles. Forget about the heel of the hand. So put your hands together, press into the finger pads and the big knuckles, sit up nice and tall, and we're in our Anjali Mudra. Just be aware of what that feels like, because we'll use this feeling later on when we're weight bearing on our hands. Now bring your hands forward, or fingertips forward, then bring them toward me. And do that with your breath. Inhale and exhale. And a couple more. Just letting the wrists rotate with pressure in those points that I indicated earlier. One more time and rotate. And we're going to just go ahead and let our fingertips come down. So all 10 fingernails are pressing together. The wrists are pressing together. We're driving the back of the hands together. And then we're going to roll up into our fingertips. We'll do that a couple times. The fingertips come together and down. Shoulders are down. Chest is lifted. And then roll back into the hands. And one more time. Roll it forward and back. Now, one of my favorite moves is called spider push-ups. There's no yoga name for it, but we're going to take those 10 finger pads and we're just going to press together. So it's like a little push-up. If you imagine a spider, if you will, okay, pressing together. And I hope you're seeing my hands do this. I'm squeezing just like a spider, pressing, and fingertips are forward. And then you can bring your fingertips up and do this. Maybe you stretch all the way to the wrists and all the way to the fingertips. And then try it down, pressing down and in. Almost like a little accordion feeling. And then shake that out. Let your hands rest on your platform. If you're sitting there cross-legged, cross the other way. So as my arms are reaching down, the shoulders roll back, I just want you once again to feel your fingerprints into the platform. You're going to get that vibration. And this is what the beauty of our platform is. It's just moving the connective tissue, ligaments, tendons, in the finger joints. Nice little bit of weight bearing. And then go ahead and release it and do that again. As if your finger, and I'm going to move my legs so you can see fingerprints down to the knuckles. It's very light weight bearing. I don't have a lot of pressure, but it's going all the way to my shoulders and loosening up. And one more time, fingertips and press down. Let's release from that. Shake out your wrist. Just get some movement into the joints. A little airborne move here. And now, you're going to bring your hands together. Interlace your fingers. Elbows are at your side. So if you look at your top thumb, imagine that's drawing a figure 8 or the infinity symbol. So I'm going to send my top thumb to the left, up to center, to the right, up to center, to the left. And we're just getting nice little wrist rolls. Remember, those 8 bones in the wrist are moving around. We get a lot of impingement in that. If you are a yogi and you've done way too many chaturangas and planks and have jammed your wrist bones, it's quite painful. And you might even have some cysts that might be forming from just, again, inflammation. But this is one way that we get some of the movement of the synovial fluid to warm up and then create that movement. And as one of my favorite naturopathic doctor says, motion is lotion. So we're just getting that synovial fluid to warm up. And I've done this about 8 to 10 times. And I'm just going to shake out. Okay. Now, we're going to take our hands and reach forward here. Interlace the fingers, press back, stretch through the wrist. Drop the chin to the chest. Shake your head no. Breathe in, push out, and reach up all the way up. And I'm going to pull my fingers, so I'm actually pulling these joints apart over my head and take it around. And this is incorporating a little bit of shoulder mobility, but I'm creating traction. And then go to the other direction. And once you've done both directions, you're going to push up, stretch up, and you can't really see my hands. I'm cut out of the screen, but push up and back. And you can go on an angle like this. It doesn't have to be over your head. So you can push forward. Now notice what pinky finger is on top here. Right now it's my left one. We're going to do the other side. And one more time. Everything's done with breath. Exhale out and shake out. Now let's go back into the wrist circles again. So interlace This time the awkward bind. My left thumb was on top, now I'm going my right thumb. So it's the awkward bind. And we're gonna do our figure eights one more time. Inhaling and exhaling, sit up nice and tall. Getting the vibration of the platform in our spine as we do our wrists. And these are all just nice little wrist warm-ups before I go into weight bearing. Just a few more. Elbows are hugging in. I'm making that infinity symbol or that figure eight symbol. And then I'm going to shake it up, get some space there. Interlace your fingers, press out, tuck the chin to the chest, shake your head no, shake it yes. You're going to reach up and create that traction. Again, we're looking for the awkward bind, so it doesn't feel natural. And then push up, press out, breathe out, and down, and shake it up. Great. So that's just a nice little way for us to warm up our wrists. I like to do this test, and this is a yoga asana called eagle arms. So let's see how you're doing in your flexibility at this point. Right elbow over left, we're going to bend the elbows and cross. We want to press the hands together. So you can see my wrists are together. Now you might find it's really hard to do, but this is what we're looking for, a nice flat wrist. Shoulders are down, elbows are up, and we're pressing the wrists together. Go ahead and release that. Try the other side, left over right. So you get the elbows, you wrap the forearms, and then the palms pressed together. So I'm looking for that straight line, fingertips up. Check that out and let that be one of your tests to see how your flexibility is improving in your wrists and shoulders. And release. So right about now, I should be about a minute before the platform shuts off. So I'm going to restart it. And then let's all get off the platform and we're going to go back to our oscillation mode, but now we'll be on our knees. By the way, have you guys caught the new products that are out? I was just talking to one of the gals before. I just got my LumiCare light therapy torch. I'm super excited about this because if you're dealing with inflammation, that's a great tool for you to do with your yoga practice, to use that as was directed through Amber's video, or her lives. So I hope you got a chance to grab that great deal they had. Okay, so now we're going to come into our next posture. I hope you can see my hands. So this is the most important thing. Can you see I've spread all my fingers out, okay? The index finger, your pointer finger pointing forward, and I'm on my knees. My weight is not much, not all my hands. You can shift back a little bit. This is our setup for downward facing dog. So think finger pads and the big knuckles. Now, if you find when you come up here, it's super tight, this is where I want you to take a blanket, okay? The more we can get weight, we're looking for index finger, knuckle, pinky finger knuckle, thumb knuckle, and thumb pad. These are the points that we want. We don't want the heel of the hand. So index finger, thumb, pinky finger, knuckles are down. And you notice right now that this is a lot less stressful on your wrists if they're tight. Over time, I'm going to encourage you not to use a blanket. Once your hands are down here, this is the next important thing that you'll need to align before we go any further. If you tend to be round-shouldered, my elbows are pointing out, what I want you to do is take your hands and roll your bones. Roll that elbow out. And you can see from the side that if I'm here, my shoulders are forward. But when I roll this bone, I roll it, it rolls back, my shoulder goes back, and then I have a better alignment in my arm. I'm not in my neck. And then I'm not in my wrists. I can get everything back into my finger pads. Now I have pretty flexible wrists, thankfully, because I practiced this. It wasn't always the case, I can assure you. So we're gonna place our fingers down. We're rolling our elbows out so you can see the creases. And now we're gonna come forward onto those finger pads. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. So it's pretty intense. Your left hand will stay where it's at. Your right hand is going to reach back so you're on the wrist. So both shoulders are back and we're taking pressure. So we're weight bearing into the wrists and weight bearing into the fingertips. And let's switch that out. Fingertips forward, taking the left hand, and I'm making sure my elbow creases forward, and I'm going to put pressure, gentle pressure in the finger pads and in the right hand and the left wrist bone, and release. You can take a break and shake that out at any time. The next posture, our hands facing out. Same rules apply with the elbows. So my finger pads, knuckles, thumbs, but not wrists. And you're gonna feel a beautiful stretch. You can move side to side on this to get a little bit of stretch. There might be an owie, but I prefer you to just give it an ah. And then our hands are facing away from each other. The right hand stays there. We're gonna take the left hand and point those fingers toward the right wrist. And feel the vibration coming up the left wrist to the shoulder, pressing in the fingernails, and come back to center. And switch to the right hand. Fingertips pointing forward toward the left hand. Shoulders are pulled back. And we're getting, when the bones get this vibration from our platform, our osteoblasts, the bones, the bone cells that build bone are being affected here. And that's why we love using a platform to increase bone density. And then release. Come back and shake it out. It gets pretty intense after a while, I can assure you, because I feel it. Our next hand posture, our fingertips are in. Now, when I bring my fingers in, you automatically roll around. So think of this like you've got two jars. You're going to roll those shoulder bones, two jar heads, and you're turning the jars. Point your fingertips, your index fingers to the center, spread everything else wide. You can shift slightly forward and back just to feel all 10 finger pads. That's super important. And now, we're going to keep the right fingers where they're at. And once again, we're going to take those left fingers out. Come back into center, switch. Left fingertips pointing into the center, right fingertips pointing out. Get the right shoulder back. Nice and easy on this. By this time, you might feel some slight sensations. If it's a burning sensation, we're just stretching some nerves. Any sharp shooting pain, back off. And make sure you're checking with your breath. And come back and then shake it out. Now, you're going to feel some weakness because we're really stretching the ligaments, but if you're not, it will help to strengthen you. Last posture, fingertips are pointing toward my knees, toward my thighs. So I'm going to find all 10 finger pads. My shoulders are pulled back, and I'm going to shift my weight over. Now, big stretch in the forearms on this, no doubt. We're going to keep the shoulders pulled back. And once again, I'm going to keep my right hand where it's at. My left hand's forward, palm facing up. My weight is in my left wrist and my right fingertips. Take a big breath in and a long breath out. And let's switch. Fingerprints, shoulders anchored, belly pulled in, and then switch. It's very important. Again, I'll emphasize this constantly. Make sure you're not in your neck. Long neck, shoulders pulled back. And breath. And release it. One more time, check in and roll off. And shake it out. So pretty intense for sure. So let's go ahead and do some of our figure eights to get some mobility, some blood flow into the wrists. This should feel pretty good by now. You might even notice that your wrists are moving easier. Switch your thumb, other thumb on top, and figure eights. Just give me about 3 of these. Doesn't it feel good after doing that? Now, this is the part I'm really anxious to show you about. It's how to do our planks. Planks are everything when it comes to strength in our core, our shoulder girdle, our abdominals. So hand setup is critical. And I have a lot of clients, and let me tell you, I deal with a lot of active aging adults who have very, very weak, tight wrists. And as we do these exercises, these asanas, they get stronger. So I'm on hands and knees. I've got my fingers spread wide. You might even turn your index fingers out slightly, just a little bit. So they're not at 12 o'clock, maybe at 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Elbows are rolled back, shoulders are back. Now from here, press into your fingerprints and the knuckles. Hover your knees off and walk 1 foot back and then the other. If it comes too much, you just come back on your knees. And hover your knees up. Walk 1 foot back and then the other. Bring the knees in. Let's do it 2 more times. You can take a break, shift forward, tuck your chin in, and I'm going to show you from the side because I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing with my shoulders. So my hands are here. I'm rolling the shoulders back. Breathe in. Weights on the fingerprints. I'm going to come up, hover on my knees, and I'm going to walk 1 foot back. Actually, I have something there. And the other foot back. Bring the knees in and back and release. Take a shake Take a break, loosen up. We're gonna stretch out in a moment here, but this is our strength part of this. Downward facing dog. Super posture for flexibility in the legs, strength in the shoulders, but foundation work. Your hands are your foundation. Setup is the same, just like the planks. Roll the shoulders back. Go ahead and walk back, kneel back, and let's bring our hands forward. Now my head's gonna be down. I want you to see my fingerprints, just like I did spider fingers before. I'm gonna claw my platform and drag the mat toward my shoulder, toward my armpits. So I'm almost suction cupping my hands. If this feels good, come up and then lift your knees up. And you can keep your knees bent, but my weight again is in my fingerprints. Shoulders are down. Breathing in, breathing up. My knees are quite bent here because I haven't warmed up much. And then come down on your knees and release. So let's go ahead and come back onto our platform. I'm going to put my blanket on here just for a little extra cushion. And my hands are going to rest in front of my platform. My fingertips are over now. Okay, so let's give it a little curl. Roll the shoulders back. Once again, I'm going to emphasize here is where the work is, not the wrists. I'm going to lean forward and kind of give it a little press and push up. Pressing into my wrists and back. Let's do that one more time. Exhale and up. Hands go behind you, and I'll show you from behind what this looks like. Again, weights in my fingerprints. I'm going to roll my shoulders back, weight bearing, and I'm going to push up and back down. Press into the fingerprints and push up and down. One more time. Press, weight bearing, up and down, and shake it out. The more we put pressure into our the big joints, will strengthen our forearms. We'll get more flexibility in our wrists. And right now my platform shut off, so I'm going to go into lateral for the last few minutes, just for a change of venue here. Great. So I'm in my lateral motion now, sitting up nice and tall. I was talking to Lauren about this before, so I don't know if any of you guys or folks back in the audience have the plush hand massager. This is also a great new product. Well, the product's been released a couple months ago. This is so lightweight that when you start the machine, it actually will press into your hands, and it's pretty much stays on your hands. So if you find after your yoga practice that your joints are feeling pretty weak, that you need some blood flow but not a lot of weight bearing, grab your plush hand massager. And this has a great shiatsu effect on your hands. It's a nice acupressure into the joints. Now, the plush also has heat on it, so it's a nice way to warm everything up. So I just wanted to throw that in there because Lifepro has come up with so many great wellness recovery tools that if you're not familiar and you have a lot of hand issues in your tissues, go think about the Plusher or the LumaCare torch, because those are great devices that will help you in your practice to recover from this work. So I'd like you to join me now once again with your hands into prayer position. And I'd like you to just stay here for a few moments with your eyes closed. And we're going to feel, that's the key word, feel each of the finger pads pressing together, each of the knuckles, those big broad knuckles pressing together, and feel the lightness in your wrists. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. You can keep your eyes closed if you'd like, or you can open them up to continue to watch what I'm doing. And so I'm going to bring my hands up over my head, stretch up, and then I'm going to bring it all the way down. So I'm going to try to keep my fingers pressed together. Now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to slide up. I'm still trying to get the weight into my finger pads and knuckles, not the heel of my hands. And then push into it again. Breathe in. And breathe out. We're going to take our hands and we're going to reach the knuckles, fingertips down and up. 2 more times. Lengthening through the hands. Reach the hands out, fingertips up. Notice the work in the forearms. Shoulders down, reach down and up and down and up. You're going to take your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, pull the shoulders down, tuck the chin in, and then reach forward, one elbow over the other, palms press into our eagle wrap. Take a breath in, slide the elbows up and down. Open up the arms again, interlace, awkward bind behind you, palms pressing together. So my hands look like this. I'm actually pressing my palms together and I'm pushing down. And then reach forward and interlace again, pushing forward. Tuck the chin to the chest. Arms come up, inhale. Hands go behind the head, interlaced. Sit up nice and tall. Relaxing your shoulders. Big breath in and out. Let your hands rest, palms onto the knees. Close your eyes. Relax your shoulders and just enjoy the last few minutes of your practice, just letting your hands rest. You might feel a lot of blood flow into your fingertips. You may feel a little weakness in it, knowing that we're just kind of stretching out of our comfort zone here. And that's where the magic happens, when we work out of our comfort zone. So Lifepro friends and families, I want to thank you so very much for joining me today. Ending with bringing our hands to heart center, bowing the eyes to the heart, honoring our time together and our gratitude for the amazing products that Lifepro has given to us and the ability to use them to become stronger and healthier every day. Have a blessed and beautiful day.